Very good morning, class 7 students. You're all welcome in physics class. Now today I am going to start chapter number 3, that is energy. So for that we need to know certain terms and which you already know. So those terms are force, work, energy, then effects of force. Okay. So let's begin our chapter number 3, that is energy. So for that, first of all, the term comes as force. So what is force? So when I write force, so what we have learned in force, that when we push or pull any object, then displacement takes place. Okay. Whenever we are pulling an object or pushing an object, we see that distance is being traveled. Okay. So that we can say as a force of effect also. A body changes its shape, size, then direction also may changes. So these are all the effects of force. So what we know about force is, so now here you can see whenever we are talking about force. So force is either push or pull with the displacement of an object. Okay. Now let us see the effects of force. So the effects of forces are either the object will change its shape or size, then force can change the direction. Okay. Force can change the speed, either slow or fast. Then we have either an object can be brought into rest position or it can be in motion. Okay. So these are the effects of forces when we apply force, either push or pull. Now for doing these forces, we need to do work. Okay. And for doing work, we need energy. Okay. So now collectively we can say that whenever force is applied to any object, what we can say, whenever force is applied to any object, that means work is done. And for doing work, we need certain energy. And now for doing work, we need energy. So now let's continue with what is energy. So now you can see here, what is an energy? Energy is a capacity of doing work. Energy is a capacity of doing work. So now certain examples are shown here, like kicking of ball, walking or running, playing or doing exercises or doing yoga. So these are all part of energy. Whenever we are gaining energy, that means we are able to do work. Like we are talking also, for that also we need energy. And if we are not eating for a long period of time, like 1 month or 2 months, that means we will not be able to talk also. Okay. So for talking also we need energy. So these are all the parts of energy. Whenever we are doing any work, for doing work we need certain energy. And those energy can be in either eating form. Okay. Whenever we are eating, that means chemical energy is intake, and that chemical energy is giving energy to our body. That is converting into glucose, and that glucose is providing us energy. Now we'll see what is the relationship between work and energy. Okay. So let's begin with relationship between work and energy. So whenever we are doing any work, so for doing work we need energy. So work is done in presence of energy only. Now here 2 rules are written in front of you. So those rules are, if an object does work, then its energy decreases. Like supposing when we are using our mobile phones continuously for a long duration. So what do we see? We see that the mobile gets heat up. That means the energy of that mobile is being decreased. energy of that mobile is being decreased. And the second rule is, if work is being done on an object, if work is done on an object, then energy of an object increases. Like we can take the example, if we are continuously paddling on a bicycle, when we are continuously paddling on a bicycle, that means we are working on a machine. So what do we see? That the speed of bicycle increases continuously. So what is here? Whenever force is applied or work is done on an object, that means we are working on bicycle, like paddling. So while paddling, what we have observed, that the speed of bicycle continuously being increased. Okay, so this is what, whenever we are applying energy on an object, so energy of that object increases. Okay, and the capacity of that machine part is being reduced. Like if we are continuously swinging on a machine, if we are continuously using a swing machine, okay, so what do we see? That its part gets heat up. Or when we are ironing, the part of the iron is getting heated up, but the result, the shirt is being ironed, or the clothes which we are using, that is being ironed. So this is the difference between those two rules. Okay, let me remind once again. Okay, let us revise those two rules. If an object does work, then energy decreases. And the second rule is, if work is being done on an object, then energy of the object increases. Okay. Now let's come to SI unit of energy. So let's take up SI unit of energy. So SI unit of energy is joule, and its symbol is capital J. Okay. Now in practical life, we are taking the SI unit, or you can say the unit of energy, as calories or kilocalories. You may have seen on certain packet food, it's written calories. Like if you are eating ankle chips or whatever, like Tic Tac, or like tadka is there, or any type of dal mot which we are eating. So on every packet it's written calories or kilocalories. So generally in practical life, what we are using, calories or kilocalories as the unit, because which we are intaking. Okay, which we are taking in for getting energy. Okay, so this is what calories or kilocalories. Now whenever we are doing any work, that means energy is required. So we have seen the SI unit of energy is joules. So the same way, when we are working on any object, we need energy. So that means both the terms are here related also. We have seen the relationship between work and energy. Whenever we are doing any work, we need energy. And when we are doing work, that means energy is being lost, or while eating, energy is gained. So therefore, we are using the SI units are same. Okay, that is joules. Now coming back to calories and kilocalories. Okay, so generally we are using calories. So 1 calorie equals to 4.186 joules. So now you can see here joule and calories both are related. So 1 calorie equals to 4.186 joules, and the round off value we can take as 4.2 joules approximately. Okay, so a calorie is a SI unit of energy which is commonly being used, and this calorie is being used for especially heat energy. So heat is also a form of energy which gives the sensation of either hotness or coldness. So this is what calories. Okay. Now 1 calorie is the amount of heat energy required to raise temperature of 1 degree Celsius to 1 gram. Like supposing if we have taken a certain quantity, like 1 gram we are taking any object, okay, and to 1 gram how much degrees Celsius is required? 1 degree is required to raise the temperature of 1 gram. So how much energy is required? 1 degree Celsius temperature is required to raise the temperature, okay. Now alternatively, 1 calorie is the amount of energy released while cooling. So 1 gram, for heating 1 gram we require 1 degree Celsius. So same way when we are cooling 1 gram, so 1 degree Celsius is reduced. Same. So okay, so when we are heating any object, like supposing 1 gram, that means 1 degree Celsius is being heated up, okay. And if we want to cool, the same 1 degree Celsius is being reduced for cooling. So here we can say that 1 kilocalorie is bigger unit of heat energy. So it is equal to the amount of heat energy required or released when temperature of 1 kg of water is being raised or lowered by 1 degree Celsius. So this is how this calories and kilocalories or joules are related to each other. Now let's take up the numerical values for calories and kilocalories. So here you can see 1 calories equals to 4.186 joules. Okay. Now 1 calorie we are taking in approximate value, that is 4.2 joules. Now if we take 1 kilocalories, so that is equals to 1000 calories. Now if we are taking 1000 calories, that means its value will be in joules, that is 186, that means 4186 joules, and approximate value of this is 4200 joules. So this is the relationship between joules and calories. Next topic is various forms of energy. So in various forms of energy, we have certain types of energies. So first one is mechanical energy. So mechanical energy is differentiated into two parts. They are potential energy, kinetic energy. Next is chemical energy, heat energy, light energy, electrical energy, magnetic energy, sound energy, nuclear energy, solar energy, and muscular energy, and many more are there. So these are the types of energy which we are going to study in this chapter. Okay, so let's start with our first, that is mechanical energy. So what is mechanical energy? So now what is mechanical energy? Energy is stored in an object on account of its position, configuration, or state of motion. So that is mechanical energy, and it can be either potential energy or kinetic energy. Okay, so this is what potential or kinetic energy we are going to discuss. So potential energy, when we are talking about, so that is related to position or height. Okay, whenever an object is kept at a height, supposing I have made here a position, okay, so this is a slanting position and this is the highermost position. So if I am keeping here a rectangular box, if I am keeping here a rectangular box at a certain height, so at certain height this object will have potential energy. This object will have potential energy because this box or a rectangular object is kept at a certain height. So here this potential energy is differentiated again in subparts. They are gravitational potential energy and elastic potential energy. So now what we are observing, whenever an object is kept at a position, so that object will have certain mass, and when it is kept at a certain height, that means height is also there, okay, and that object will be attracted towards gravity. So here we are having three terms, that is mass, height and gravity. So whenever we are talking about any object placed at a certain height, that object will possess mass, gravity and height. Okay, so that object will have certain mass kept at a certain height, and that object will be attracted towards gravity. So here we have three terms. So therefore, when we are solving any numerical problem related to potential energy or mechanical energy, we are having the formula that is mass, gravity and height. In short, we can write formula that is mass, gravity and height, that is mgh. Okay, so this is what potential energy. Like we can take the examples whenever we are checking our water tanks. So that water tank is kept at a certain height. So that water tank will have mass, gravity and height. Okay. Now let's come to elastic potential energy. So when we are talking about elastic potential energy, that means energy is being possessing by elastic force. Like if we are using a spring, okay, you can go through your activity number 2 given on page 44. So in that you can see a spring is taken, and on that spring a ball is kept, okay, and when it is compressed, when the spring is compressed, what do we see? That height of the spring is being reduced. Now as we release, what do we observe? The spring gets expanded and the ball starts jumping. The ball will jump from its position. Okay, so this is what elastic potential energy. Same way we can take in bow and arrow or in catapult, elastic is there. So while using an catapult or bow and arrow, in that also we are observing elastic is there. So that is elastic potential energy. So this is how we can say that potential energy is distributed in two parts, that is gravitational potential energy and gravitational potential energy. So here we have observed that mechanical energy is being divided in two parts, that is potential energy and kinetic energy. Then further potential energy is distributed into two parts, that is gravitational potential energy and elastic potential energy. So I hope this much is clear to all. Okay, if you are having any doubt, you can ask in doubt session. Okay, in next class we will start with kinetic energy. Thank you.